See this go down the drain. I've got so much to give. But I know what I get. So emotional again. Okay, so everybody go live. Then you like give them the password. Go live on your phone, even if you're not watching, just go live first. Is it on YouTube we are going live or YouTube? Huh? You can share it too with your friends. They join us. Please don't give them the location where we are. Supposed to go to.
Why you coming? Is it cold? Thank you. Is this one really cold? Yeah, I know the one that's.
You dropped one.
No, she doesn't want to. Give me the key. Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you something. I thought my people say I'll start it. Let me keep quiet. Take. Please, if your phone is on auto download, auto update, I carry God. I'm big. Because this is get out we can survive for like semester. Yes, somebody else will get that you can survive. Let me freeze my WhatsApp. Yeah,
WhatsApp only they did.
They deadly. Say you need to freeze up. Very common.
Do you know what I'm saying? Freeze.
You have to freeze the WhatsApp. I'm going to take your water. You're welcome.
Pepe. Are you serious?
You don't like it?
I really love Pepe.
No, I'm asking you the key. You don't like it?
If I don't like shawarma, I would Pepe.
That's really why you don't like shawarma because there was no pepper. It's so
Really?
creamy and
It's
runny.
yours pepper. I dey chop am like person you have conscience.
Wow. Take. Okay. Go on YouTube, search for Graciano and Rere. What's that? What's that?
Is your voice?
Me, God forbid backing. I reject. What's that? It's me, oh. Me, God forbid backing. Oh, wait, that's right. No, but what's the sounding? Oh, hey, oh, wait, that's right. No, but I don't understand what your problem is. I don't know.
I want to silence it.
But what is it?
I'm live. That's the thing.
No, what is it? In your phone?
It's you that is talking. I'm live.
No, before that, something was just
It's you now. It's your voice.
It's really. Anyway, shall everybody reduce your volume
Put it off, actually. Put your volume off.
completely. That's your stop button. Yeah, I have.
I'm going live.
Okay, shook away your. I'm giving you your phone, Abby. Okay. Like reduce the volume of your. Like turn it off completely. Go down. We are back. Back like we never left. Back to the simple crafty. Oh, excusez-moi. So they say hot reach. Because I did not feel anything in my unit. I mean, I use different hands to man.
Yeah, good long.
People are portraying me as a bad person in front of grace, and I don't like it because we all know I am a very good person. Like the best person anybody can have.
I'm sure I was taking you, but so you help.
Oh yeah, it's true milk, right?
But sit down to the high behind shawarma.
I don't even get it. Anyway, yes, for it, for you're still in school, eh? The Nash's Adru. Okay, good. I don't know. Is it Nash's Adru girls like so I beat? I have to confirm this.
Going for
Yes, that's why I went to one group and said all those Akwa Ibom girls that used to ask for transfer for the guys. They almost kicked me out of the group. All the admins in the group are Akwa Ibom people.
one guy I know said the girl wanted to see him. The guy goes to Modric. She said she wants him to. She wants to see him. I said maybe she send
What's
them.
funny?
Maybe she send them money to buy clothes, buy shoe.
So do it.
No, the way the same one that they request now.
Wait,
Mode break person.
wait, first
It
time.
was just paid.
Wait, first time seeing. First time seeing. Why is she beating you?
Like, and people were like, no, nothing like that. And I had to explain to them. I'm not saying if a guy offers to give you money or offers to pay for your boat when you come, you should reject it too. But don't be an idiot. Don't go and tell him, man, I don't have transport to come out, so you will send me transport money. If you don't have to sit in your house and close your
Some people
leg.
tell you to buy clothes. So he was doing the same thing. He said he told her to buy. He was just joking.
Clothes, shoe. Kokoma buy the air you
Buy
breathe.
and shirts, then transportation. So instead the girl no grip respond again. People saw what he was doing, Sha. Like how does it feel now?
I mean, to be build unnecessary.
You don't reach your turn, you sound somehow.
Like for me,
Can you
from
come
both
out?
ends,
You
you
buy
always
me
sound
new gown.
somehow. Because you don't have clothes. Like if I was not the one calling you to come out, maybe you're gonna be your friends, you will not wear clothes. This my turn, you want to come buy you new clothes. Please come out naked. Not like everybody has not already seen you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. So let's
Tight
move
zip,
on.
yeah. That's my book. That's my book. Oh, we are in chapter 12. Oh, my
Thank you, sir.
No. Who is this? Yes, nice. He needs data urgently to do a job.
What is that?
And that's what I want to say. I want to say the person.
I really want to pay his salary.
Okay, that's my boy. That's my small boy that I told you we always support Baka together.
Oh.
That I bought Bole for last. Easy, don't go and push this thing. Okay, so
This thing, Jesus.
time to rush this thing. Thou prepares a table before me, Abby. Your hand is back. You said I don't want to save it.
Save it.
Bro, I play guitar on Sunday.
Save it.
Play guitar for church.
It's on my phone. My book.
Cheers.
The white one is mine.
No, the white one was actually mine. Then I kept it with your own and they decided to take my own. I really don't want it.
It's weird.
I was. Here is the one you want to read.
I'll take, give me the other one that you say.
Easy. Okay, so 90 to how many pages?
Chapter 12, so we have 90
To 206. Yeah, to rush it. Yeah, I can finish it first.
We will not read. Like, only we should not read. We read per chapter, I read one chapter.
I lie.
Chapter.
Read everything.
You can only utilize my voice, my very nice voice.
You go fit up fast.
Chapter 13.
Remember 26, according to read, you see it.
That's what you want to come and read here.
And I have to read. November 26th, according to EGC
If you come
ranking,
across a
I
picture
had
of my
made
newly
it from
furnished
made
crib
it to the top
or the
as
brick
Nigerian
and mortar
number
structure
one contemporary
I
poet.
decorated
One,
from the
two, three, four, four. How many phones are connected? One,
So,
two, three, four.
She
It's
said,
has
yes,
not
how is
connected.
this connected? I thought
So
she disconnected it to make it four for you. One, two, three. Your second phone, four, laptop, five. Your
no,
second phone
they won't
connected.
show me. This is the one I'm using to be live.
Oh, you mean the live? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about those connected to the live watching
Oh,
now.
okay.
I'm even seeing only two.
make a comment.
Check if
Hello,
you can
sir.
see more. Can you see me? I just saw you look at your phone and come back to the system. Stop doing that.
Stop doing what?
That. Thank you.
I don't understand. What was I doing?
Your mouth in the live just said doing. That's funny.
Just started doing what?
Your mouth in the live just said doing. But you have been saying it since.
All right.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like.
Nduke say, hello, San Cristiano. Hello,
Okay,
recording.
I've seen it. Any recording? Okay, let's go on. Please let us be vibing so that it will be sweet. November 2016, according to EGC ranking, had made it to the top as Nigeria's number one contemporary poet. Imagine the popularity, and yet two things stood clear. I was broke and I hadn't graduated from school, 6 years behind time, and looking at a 78 deadline after which the university will gladly offer me a certificate of attendance instead of a degree award. The only way to deflate this looming doom was to ensure I graduated in that particular year. And this meant money, lots of it, to clear fees accrued over the years. I spent out of school, over the years I spent out of school without official withdrawal. I needed 282,000 naira exactly if I must wear the much revered NYSC khaki the following year. What this meant in turn was I would need roughly 15 stage performances if I charge an average of 20,000 naira per invite, or one big win in less than 3 weeks. December was by the corner, and the coming year held only the blessing of a bleak future. I started by begging brands I had featured in to raise funds for me, or rather lend me money to pay back in time. In fact, if GoFundMe was a thing then, as it is now, you would have come across one in my name. It was shameful. It took a lot of guts and courage to ask for help. I met with disappointment, which was even more than the shamefulness of the ordeal. My former church had a welfare program for this, but I did not forget that the last time I tried to access help to clear the bills accrued, the lady in charge asked me
Yeah,
if my father was
yeah.
Yeah.
according to her, the funds for welfare was reserved exclusively for orphans and widows of the church. I wanted to just nod and move on when she added earthquake to the landslide in my heart. Return when your father dies.
Abba, seriously,
Yeah.
that's just wicked.
So I looked at her eyes. It was cold. So many things led to other ugly experiences, and I left the church and stayed at home until God Himself sent me to TRP by way of losing money to the careless bet and tracing BK's voice. I gave up on the social world and ran to church to my pastor, Reverend Tari. He was the one who coerced me into going back to finish school in the first place. I literally said to him, "Sir, I have to I have to guilt trip you on this. I wouldn't have met with this embarrassing roadblock if you had let me alone. Oh yeah, oh, do something, oh, it don't choke. Where will I see that kind of money at once in 3 weeks?" He looked at me and held my shoulder. "Graciano, do you know what God is saying to me?" "No, sir." "God says anywhere you see an event, no matter how small, enter for it." I laughed in spite of my beating self. "Sir, I'm a professional here, oh. Where do you think I will see the kind of event that will pay me huge?" "Well, I've told you what God said. Small or big or enter." That message from the Lord didn't go down well with me. There was one such slam already being advertised in Abuja. With it, my problem with it, the popularity of the contest say the face of the slam lay in the visage of a known rival who as at then was Nigeria's number two poet. Ours was an unspoken war, carried in the hearts of our most fervent fans, who defended our deservedness of the ultimate spotlight. It was like the relationship of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. There was really no friendship or enmity. Now, imagine going to slam in the threshold of a frenemy, whom you had beaten, scaled nothingness to get to the top, knowing the judges are part of an audience made up of his fan base. I could smell by my own defeat. How could I even go to compete in a contest organized by my own first runner-up? God punish.
Poverty.
Reverend, are you sure it is the voice of God you heard me? The clergyman affirmed his stance. Even if it is worth 5,000 naira, my friend, go. Even if the panel of judges are people who hate you for the past victories they think you didn't merit, my friend, go and compete. I needed nothing else to spur me. I applied and got called, so I traveled to Abuja for what was looking like my funeral. I'd never felt so sick in a venture I wished to undertake. By going to that slam, I sacrificed my reputation and tabled a chance for my naysayers to grade my downfall, thereby proving themselves right that this brat from God knows where couldn't have won our boss unless it was rigged. Inside the bus, I was sweating profusely, dripping water even from my inners. My clothes was visibly drenched, and my co-passengers panicked. Rasta man, wait till you take where you dey pant like this. The drug strong go here. My head pounded like the small African drum that dangled from my neck. With my long afro, I posed the picture of a drug man on overdose. Oh no, it's just malaria medicine I took. It will be fine. I wouldn't be. News made it round the throng that I was on scene. A friend who I passed the night at his place overheard some other contestants conniving to team up their votes and knock me out of the event. He told me this, and I laughed, more to ease my nerves than disprove the conspiracy theories. I was livid, but something kept my spirit soaring and my hopes high. It was the voice of a rentary persuading me to take the wildest risk of all time, to sponsor the trip to Lagos event with the onshore winnings. Okay, to sponsor the trip to Lagos event with the onshore winnings of the Abuja Slam, and afterwards attend four other paying events. What did you say? It's the definition of faith again. The showdown began. I flew through the first round, scaled the second round, and needed to get 30 marks from four judges, each on a scale of 1 to 10 to win the night. The piece I performed this round was Boo Harry. The first judge stood up to give me a 10 and out of 10. A second brandished a 10 flashcard too. I was down to the last two judges. They looked at each other, drew close, consulted, and when they were done, the third judge raised a 5. Ha. The audience booed and went berserk. The reaction was explosively massive. I was causing a dissension in the camp of my naysayers. The same crowd that had gone crazier after my boo Harry, screaming their accolades, was also on hand to boo the third judge for downgrading such a performance. The last judge stood up, gave a 2, and ran away, with his voluptuous belly shaking like jelly. I've never felt so bemused in my life. Initially, I was equally just mad until I noticed that I had emerged second runner-up, not even second position. I moved on from being mad to being confused too. It was obvious I had been cheated out of the 100,000 naira prize. Sami Sage Hassan, my mentor and the first spoken word poet to go on record in the country who came to observe the event, equally voiced his resentment for the judging process. My friend was mad beyond restraint. I told you, I told you they were planning to rig it, he said, with the palm of his outstretched hand facing me like it was all written there. What do you want me to do? I'm a man under divine instruction, I replied. From the 3,000 naira left on me, I had to take out 1,000 naira and give it to my friend to fare himself home. Somehow I needed to leave for Lagos that same hour as planned. People by now trooped out of the hall. These were the ones who did not walk out on the event in anger. They met me by the corridor, and as they hailed me, they stuffed money into my pockets. Lovers of poetry, from every level of academics, faces unknown, all dipped a hand into my pocket and deposited their appreciation. Oga, no mind them, Joe. Now you win. Well done. I beg, sign autograph for me here. They sung my praises, and the money kept coming until the four corners of my thighs bulged. If there be any tear in my eye, my glasses shielded it from view. I signed my heart away. In a sport that was designed for my defeat, I signed a contract worth 1,000,000 souls. Suddenly, the studio door slammed open and someone echoed my name. Graciano, they need you inside, though. I perceived the brimming excitement. I demurred in my path. What they need me for? What do they need me for? What would Reverend Tari have done if he was in my shoes right now? I mused to myself. Reverend Tari would want me to answer that call, wouldn't he? I followed them. Immediately, I got into the hall. People started clapping and hooting, and I was like, did I later win? I was asked to climb the stage. I obliged. It eventually had prizes for runners-up, which initially weren't there. Well, this would be a good time to receive it. There weren't any, but I had bigger surprises, not too pleasant at first. I thought the girl who had won the event had had her share of crying and hugging me and saying, I don't deserve this. Someone took the mic and said, Mr. Graciano, we know a lot happened tonight, which cannot be. Do you know who someone is?
Yes, I do. I think you mentioned it.
Bash
Oh,
Amuni.
yeah, Bash.
Mr. Graciano, we know a lot happened tonight, which cannot be changed, which includes the decision of the judges, but I personally want to rewrite a part of the shabby history. Please, after now, make sure your account number gets to me. I'm sending you a sum of 50,000 naira. What was left of the crowd went ecstatic. I mouthed a thank you to him and made to climb down the stage. Someone else said, please stay on the stage. Make sure that account number also gets to me. I'm appreciating your rendition with the sum of 50,000 naira too. And that was how the donation started coming in. 5 figures in loads in the presence of my enemies. On the night shuttle to Lagos, to KIS's Feast of Words, where people ate fish, kebab, drank palm wine, and performed poetry throughout the night, my cheeks were enlarged with contentment. In the darkness fleeting by, I saw Reverend Tari's solemn countenance brighten the road ahead. The clergyman wouldn't believe it when I told him that a few days later I was declared the winner of the slam. The girl had been disqualified on the grounds of plagiarism. The crown came home to descend on the anointed head of the rightful king, surely in the presence of my enemies. When I was almost rounding off my service program, I got invited by my former church to perform at an event sponsored by the welfare team. I sent them the way of my management and they paid for my services. On the day of the event, I performed my testimony and clearly mentioned how God Himself helped me to clear bills when church welfare failed me. A random man ran from the pew to hug me, crying and went back. He could relate, I was certain. What made this entire experience undoubtedly divine was that after I had returned home, done all purchases and paid bills, what was left in my account was 282,000 naira, the exact same amount of money I needed to clear all outstanding fees accrued over the years in school. It's awesome to have plans, know how to write letters to figures, but some situations just won't stop being algebra. Once in a while, every artist would need these kind of interventions that are divine too.
Is this not great?
Celebrate.
Rejoice.
Never rest.
Rejoice.
Chapter 13 is titled The Brand of Braids. Childhood was sprinkled with sparse, malnourished strands of hair on my face. It brought me much dishonor amongst my peers when I shaved the little I had. I mean, at 14, I looked so boyish my age mates sent me on errands, which of course came with yellow yabbing, with much yabbing. Does this look familiar?
So, I guess into run errands because
Your
people
mates
feel small.
thinking you're small.
I think I've experienced it firsthand. Why is that trophy finish my voice one day?
It's
You've not noticed that when there are foods you eat,
The
your voice will
aura.
not be clear again.
Is the aura.
But I just noticed the way I was speaking.
No, na big man something.
I just have to go like, hi, how are you?
Na big man
You
something.
came here with someone?
How may I help
Take something. Just tell me. Oh, it's on the house. I don't go pay.
You climb on top the roof. They climb on top the roof and get the money. When they come to them, oh, your money is on the house. The bill is on the house.
I don't know. My sister can't bring area.
Please climb the roof.
All right.
Let's go.
I looked so boyish, my age mate sent me on errands, which of course came with much yabbing. So I let my hair grow untouched, first as an insignia of adulthood, that I am older and deserve respect. It bloomed into a thick afro, then locked into dreads until I started plaiting them for sucker's sake. Naturally, my Typhosi hair was brown, and no matter how much I combed it, it still looked unkempt, like I just got out of a heap of sawdust. I decided on dyeing it black. It felt unreal, though, like the temporal beauty it took when I got out of a shower. You want to love it and revel in the wet, curly strand, but you'd spit on it when it eventually become dry and touch it. When the parties will take a jagged stance like two mice had a listless nap on my head. Not nice at all. Trust me, not nice. One of the days I was to go to an event in Lagos organized by Poets in Nigeria PIN. I'd been invited to unveil and launch their new website. How to carry my hair for such an important occasion was my greatest dilemma. Should I braid it, perm it, carry it between my legs? I decided on not carrying it at all. Buchi, my cousin, who is popularly called Wenger, because of his affinity to anything that the French manager of the English club Arsenal did, was ready to help. He referred me to a good barber who knows what to do by just seeing the shape of your head. I know I told him severally, call this your barber, oh, let him understand his job. Oh. My guy was like, the guy, good job. Wait until he finishes with your hair. And that was how I sacrificed my hair hard end afro that year. The barber so masticated my hair by the time he was done, I was unhappy with my new look. I mean, I had run from bedlessness for a decade plus, only to be pitched back into a boyish disposition. I didn't want for myself. Oh, boyish disposition I didn't want for myself. Looking into the mirror at what was left of hairs on a tiny head, I only saw a scrawny face tucked into nothing. Oga Baba, you don't try you, I fumed. Oga Baba, you don't try you, I fumed. I must go to Lagos. Lagos must see me, but see this head? I decided I was covering it with the precious blood of the hat you must have seen a zillion times on my head. Yes, that brown hat, which once belonged to Winifred, was promoted to the protector of the deserted and hairless plains. At the
Your cousin.
Yeah, the one that grew up with them at Abuja.
At the event, already persons who knew me called me Gramps, Granddad, Granny, with a little stress on the R. Of course, it was a mark of respect as long as the spherical space of poetry was concerned. Now, seeing me in a real grandpa's hat sort of lent credence to whatever they called me. That was how that hat became a thing, a part of me, basically a part of my brand. Towards the end of 2017, I made a post on my social media handle asking fans what alterations I should enact to up my game in the coming year. I got so many feedbacks, including personal notes from fashion designers, some suggesting my entire wardrobe needed a total overhaul. For some, while flat and for some, white and flat shoes were a no-no, and I must do away with them.
Sorry, question. Why did you have white shoe in the first place?
I don't know. I thought it's going to show that I'm a holy person.
Oh, come on, come off it. I think if I'd seen you wearing a white robe now, wow.
Now, wow, this one, now, wow.
That was just like that.
You
Wow.
don't have this one.
I didn't know all of these things now.
In the state filled with black suits, they wear white shoes.
Give it to me. Daddy.
God will help all of you. For some, white and flat shoes were a no-no, and I must do away with them. Shoes with heels will do a whole world of good to my height. Bright colors make you appear bigger than you are. Than you are. No baggies, no horizontal designed shirts. Those give you a stout stature. Slim fits would do, and etc. So many feedbacks and rules and do's and don'ts. I appreciated all of their honesty. In fact, as regards my choice of footwear, there was this one time I was supposed to perform with Timida Kolo at September is Red. I'd worn this great shoe of mine, looking all fulfilled and happy with myself, when this set of teenagers playing football close to the junction saw me and struck up a known party banger. Shoe, Peru, worry, do. Someone cannot play with you. Is that how you used to do? Shoe, my shoe. They all danced to the song in the conference of kinsmen where the proverb of an old tattered basket was made. I was a proverbial haggard woman in their midst who felt the worst hit. I wanted to go punish the kids, but this is Nigeria and I would lose the case before any adjudicator because nobody called my name per se. I decided to keep my cool and walk away. But really, it pained me. A lot of people, including the shoe, had been telling me, change your shoe, change the shoe. That was the day I swore I must change that shoe. As soon as I got home, I called my manager and we bought a new shoe worth what I'd never spent on a single clothing article, 14,000 naira.
It's kind of cheap.
Huh?
Then,
And that
it
was
was,
then.
then it was not cheap.
Yeah, definitely. It won't be cheap at the time.
Now I cannot even buy shoe for 10,000.
You can't even buy shoes. I did do shoes, and I'm telling you, you can't get shoes of. If you get shoes of 30,000 naira, maybe it's like a thread shoe made by a company in the UK that is still.
The
strong.
shoe was 14,000, but I paid 16,000 transportation.
Where did you go to buy it?
in her
They
back.
sent it
Like
from
women
Bielsa.
con-
Shoes are like 60K now, 70K. Which is weird.
Was it like shoe, corporate shoe?
No, like how
But Timber don't
like
do
that kind of shoe you saw.
Timberland.
The shoe that you said I should get that is shiny, black
Oh
but with heel.
yeah.
It was really expensive.
Mm.
It was expensive. It
Is
was
that
it
actually
pained
what you're
me.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Truly, that shoe is expensive now.
It is very expensive. It pained me because it was expensive, but it was a better pain than the one people laughing at me on the road.
You know the shoe? Okay. I don't think you saw his status that day. There was this
The one I
status.
said, if anybody tells me
Yeah,
to get
Buy this and
married,
tell
I
him
saw
to
two
get married.
pictures.
She gave him 15 months.
You know what?
15 months. Like if they buy the shoe for him, they should just tell him, I'm giving you 15 months to marry. 15 months
So
to
now the
marry.
shoe go use
So
up.
three of us now will contribute money. It's not that expensive. We contribute 20K, we don't buy the shoe.
Well, it's not.
Then we'll tell him 15 months. If we don't find
I
it,
don't
then
think
we'll
I don't
come back
even
for it.
think I don't even think we need to be buying. I feel like what we are doing now makes it so nice. If you listen to the audio than the video. This conversation we're having now.
What if he wants to? That
Hold on.
spice you had, you were testing in your shawarma is weed.
It's not weird. It's so nice. Please let us continue. Because my own voice now. Before I go check myself.
well, it got spoiled along the line. Oh, where did I stop?
Normally,
Normally should change my entire wardrobe then, but I spent it on one shoe. Every time I wore that expensive black shoe, I prayed for the heavens to hold their peace, make Port Harcourt rain, no go spoil person full salary. Well, it got spoiled along the line, but I didn't wear it for long to know it needed change too. It was a good move because it gave me the much desired respect from fans and admirers alike. These people's opinions mattered because they were the ones buying my books, inviting me to paying gigs, and those who paid to attend events had been invited to. I had been invited to. I mean, across the world, not just within the country. Different people from different brands and companies all supporting me. This time, their voice had the same chorus: do something about your hair. You can't keep wearing this hat. It makes you look so old and archaic. You have been blessed with long hair. Do something with it. I noticed that the hat had only been accorded a measure of respect in places I did social political pieces, but received frowns in places I performed poems that spoke of beauty, women, and love. Their comments brought this to mind, and it needed urgent correction. I went to my WhatsApp and made public my options: bald, low cut, afro braids, plaits, or dreadlocks. Nobody chose the first three, and more that I considered their opinions too. My dissenters, the Philistines and
Oh
Amalekites,
God.
those who would look the other way
Differences are
whenever I
eradicated.
sought help or pitched my sale, were disgruntled and threw the Bible at me. Now you have braided your hair. What will Jesus say?
You
What
got
would
no
Jesus
hair.
say? They asked.
You got no hair.
I had a comeback for them.
Contamination.
I had a comeback for them. Did Jesus go on low cuts? Did he bab punk the way you all carry your hair? Did he wear jackets and suits when he was on earth? Some were like, it's not even about Jesus self. All these police problems, can't you see? Huh? Suddenly you are all now concerned citizens of my safety and care. Abi? What if we are here now, together with you, and the police now come, Who do you think that they will take, that will think is the criminal? This part always got me infuriated. So all the celebrated criminals you know had braids, Abi. All the evil people in this world have braids, right? Otokoto, the Owerri ritualist, Clifford Orji, the Lagos cannibal, Hush Puppy, the globally recognized internet fraudster, Gracious David West, the Port Harcourt serial killer, Evans, the kidnapper, bandits, hoodlums, and the corrupt politicians, etc. Do they have braids on? Sometime later on my way to Nasarawa, I would have the same argument with a policeman. Once he saw me seated in front of the shuttle, he started waving his gun and shivering. Park, park! Come down, waiting there your bag. His rifle aimed at my head. I complied calmly, but not before telling him, Oga, point that gun away. Oh. If there are only 5 good men left in Nigeria, I'm one of them. No go say na self-defense when you shoot good person. Oh. I'm not a threat to you. I'm a responsible man and a lecturer at the National State Polytechnic. You be lecturer, now you look like this. I teach art. I'm an artist. How I look shouldn't be your problem. Whether I impact value or not now, that should bother you. He let me go afterwards after much haggle, that is. An intellectual sporting braids and jeans and jackets, spreading the goodness of poetry to society, which meant nobody any harm. If anybody raised their voices on the media in solidarity to end such protests, it was me. Now, what to take away from this part of the story? Instructions and dependency are proportional and interconnected. They go hand in gloves. You don't depend on the support of people and not adhere to their instructions, especially when it would motivate them to grant you more support. If you always want it your way, you will have to bear watching them go away. On the other hand, you don't also give instruction to people who don't depend on you. When your advice goes unsolicited and enforced, especially to someone who you have never raised a finger to uplift in any way, consider that you are calling for a barrage of insults. To avoid this, give your voice where you give your hand. If you must advise, don't advise.
Woo.
every
Is it pepper from the? It's not like
everyone wants to have their say about people's brands, even persons lacking in experience or are technical failures. People stereotype artists and creatives wrongly because we don't need to go about tooting our horns. How we advertise our brands is to look different. So when I walk past a group of persons, people recognize me for the identity I portray because I have distinguished myself, set myself apart from what is generally obtainable. This is what branding is about. Should you choose to build one or become one? A reflection of this will also be cast on your content, such that person will recognize vestiges and imprints of you wherever you leave them. So long as it hurts nobody, so long as it makes you happy, so long as your real fans support it, do it. Be it. I thought I would lose my job as a secondary school teacher the moment I started flaunting my braids. The school's proprietor was a religious man, and as unexpected, was dissatisfied with the new look. I was ready to resign if it got to that. However, because of the quality of what I had brought to the entire school, he was ready to not just let me be, but to also increase my salary with a promotion to staff management level. As far as creative art is concerned, in the school presently, I represented them internally and externally, and they are only one of the many institutions whose ambassador I have become. This is what you become when you brand yourself such that people and organizations find representation in your persona.
Who gets to read chapter 14?
Yep.
Who gets to read chapter 14?
Look, read it. We know you want us to be hearing your voice. Read it. Let us read.
Read it, but we have to be fast if you want to read it.
Yes, don't come and do that thing for us.
Hold on, let me.
There. Oh Lord.
No issues.
Oh, you want them to see me?
No, the one sick is reading.
Voila.
You just see a deck.
My haters not see me. People like Dale and I can't go carry my picture show to the haters.
You can-
My sister, I'm not gonna die.
I'm gonna post it.
Do you realize we had these things in front of the camera? I had to move them out conscious because of brand.
Yeah, please remove it. They're not doing free
They're not paying
advice.
us.
Even I hope you then do the video. I don't go mention them.
Okay.
This is not good.
Chapter 14. Who dares? Who dares wins? That day, I was headed to a radio event with my phone buzzed. When my phone buzzed, English. I couldn't pick up because I was on transit. I missed my calls. My eyes needed to be on the road. I was not conversant with the part of town where the radio station was. So when I was sure I had got to the gate, I decided it was time to attend to the ringing phone. The callers had been both impatient and persistent. It was my mother's voice that was on the other end. She sounded excited and quite fondly. Daddy, they are looking for your number now. Your jam registration number. I said jam. What for? Yes, what? How will I have the tiny details since 2016? Since 16 I got admission. Her voice crooned. Send it now. Don't allow the devil to scatter everything we've already worked for. Please. That confused me more. Whatever it was that mother couldn't communicate clearly must be really exciting and serious. I dropped the call, went through my call log to check who else I did miss talking to. This was not on my contact list. Hello, sir. My name is Valentine. Please check your Facebook. I did. The message person dropped was my past mending itself, and somebody got paid for this heartlessness nearly a decade ago. It so happened that this Valentine worked as assistant to barrister Asene, the lecturer accused of paying me to defame his colleague on my column on states person. The person was now the HOD of my department. Fact was, Let it being a dead body, but it wasn't his. It was his only begotten sons, and since then his wife had not been able to birth a
Sorry,
child.
1 second. Dead body thing.
They thought he died.
Are we saying literal or like
Like,
He
yeah.
said over his dead body, I will graduate.
So there
Oh,
was
so
a
his
dead body
son
now.
that
There was his son.
okay,
But it was his son, and then he has not. The woman was unable to give birth, even up to now.
She have not bond. She have not bond again. She has said
Right.
Jesus.
She has not born.
We should go to cross for healing.
The story of a fowl guilty. The story of a fowl guilty of fouling the air and was chased around by its shadows on the ground was somehow linked to me. The man said I was diabolical, that I killed his son and tied his wife's womb. Mhm. Bottom line was that I should come and carry my wahala and go and leave his family alone. He wanted me to send my registration number as soon as possible so he can peddle me off to youth service. I did never read any news both satisfying and funny in all of my
I
media.
had never read.
You said I did never.
I had. Yes.
Said education. He's not seeing road again.
You're making it. What you said is not funny. It's your look that's making it. Look.
To activate my video shaker power. Right?
I have also D is either I had or I would.
He knows.
I have never read both news. I never read any news both satisfying and funny in all of my media life. This would make a good radio gist for the night, I thought. I called back the Valentine. I called back 14th. It was almost 8 p.m. and I had a program waiting to go on air. My dear, una go wait to where that thing day far. I had to turn my house upside down to find the file that contains that details. But sir, Barrister Sene is in school now. He needs it urgently. It's almost 8 p.m. I laughed. My friend, we are both saying the same thing. He held my registration for 9 years. You can hold it for one more night. I don't mind. And that was how in 2016 I finished a life of English and literary studies. I started in 2016. That should have ended in
2006.
2006. Should have ended in 2010. During my final clearance, the kind of toxic insensitivity I received from most office workers I encountered was quite appalling. Somebody would just open their mouth wide and ask, uh-huh, sorry, why would you wait all these years to come and clear? So you can leave, so you leave book and went and smoke weed. Look at his hair now. Another would bamboozle me with, did you travel? Did you fall ill? Did you lose your parents? Tell us what happened to you. Young man, I'm talking to you. Madam, I would try to play cool. You don't need all these details, do you? What you need is this money I have in my hand. And what I need is the receipt
Issue.
you issue after collecting it. I understood they had neither sympathies nor recompense to grant. All the lot of them want all the lot of them wanted all lot of them wanted was the perfect alibi to ridicule my circumstances and maybe offer cheap pity within the shared offices. Bad boy looking like somebody deported back to the country. Do you push drugs?
He literally said you look at the deported.
Yeah.
Just look at his records now. One would shout and about eight gossip hungry colleagues would gather to look at the man who had a very good result before you started messing up. God, it was so frustrating. After the shamefulness of rewriting exams with students who were still suckling on their mother's breast when I first entered university. Honestly, I didn't see any reasons to come back in the first place. I was doing well without certifications. My only motivation was the respect I had for persons who needed me to really finish that phase of life. Otherwise, I think I have a problem.
What is it?
I would-
I had. I had. I would. Depending on the.
I would never have moved far away from it. Academics lost its savior, its
Seven.
savor, and it was the youth service when I finally got posted to Nasarawa. So it was the youth service when I finally got posted to Nasarawa. I had to find a way to thrive around people who, by the reckoning of time, were from a different timeline and orientation. And this is one of the first lessons that I would pass on to my students in Nasarawa. Endure these humiliations now you are younger. Get things right when you start them. Finish whatever you start as soon as you start them, or face the risk of doing the exact same things you could have done with ease at a later time. But this time, when your advisors and instructors would become your juniors, I got a taste of that too during my service year, feeling misplaced. It's not as though I felt older. It's just that I knew I should have gone past that stage of life. The prayer of biblical David resonated with me when he said, "Lord, satisfy me early." There are some blessings life presents to you belatedly. Others will be happy for you while what you feel is just indifference. Like you don't need them anymore. For instance, getting a radio show was something I'd been excited about in 2003. It did not happen then. It was 5 years later I had that debut. Furthermore, it was even a non-paying job, by which time there was nothing about the whole deal that had any cheer for me. The same applied to my stage performances. I remember times I wanted to feature in gigs for free, sweeping halls, arranging public address systems just for me to show my talents before a handful of people. When the real deal started coming in big, I did lose the first fires. I had stokes
Yeah.
in my chest for long. This is the same reason bronze medalists always look happier than silver medalists. While the bronze medalist is happy that he or she got a medal, the silver medalist is sad that he or she failed to get the gold medal. The bronze medalist gets he or her medal after winning, whereas the silver medalist gets he or her medal after losing. In my case, I got my medal after losing years, happiness, freshness, and repute. Repute after the 282,000 naira miracle. I went into school to pay all outstanding fees. On getting into the Zenith Bank branch in school, the bank manager happened to be my former classmate. She couldn't believe her
Yes.
ears when I recounted my story. She wept until her eyes got swollen. Imagine if she had failed to understand the severity of what had happened. Reputation off the window. This is exactly how life happens when you are busy making other plans. How nature pitches you stuff out of your timeline. However, it is about how receptive you are when the opportunity comes. Like I was Nigeria's number one, like I was Nigeria's number one contemporary poet for the second time in a row. And persons who wanted to leave at the moment were like, "Congrats!" And I'm like, "Really? I've gone past this." I realize I realized it sort of made me look ungrateful. And thus, the big question is, can you stoop low and take on what's so below your expectations, pretending as though it is worth as much as what it now passes as a bigger achievement? Can you dare not to look sad and sullen when people are genuinely happy for your small belated wins? If you can, you win.
Oh,
Continue.
okay. Me, I want to see.
Let him do one more.
Left hand, chapter 15. Left hand to
Land
follow.
left.
Land left to follow. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
remember.
You remember? That's our first walk together.
All right. When I was in secondary school, I didn't hate mathematics. I just did not understand it. I could barely understand addition, subtraction, multi, multiplication, divisions, fractions, ratio, statistics, percentages, board mass, etc. until we got to algebra, and I just knew that there are some things motivational speaking cannot do for you. I believe strongly that the part of mathematics. I believe strongly that part of mathematics is made for terrorists who make bombs or people who are doing their best to go bonkers. Why add letters to numbers for God's sake? No wonder mathematics no wonder mathematics problems are called problems. That's well true. And it makes sense, if essays make you numb, or algebraic equations make you number. Oh,
Nice
so what
one.
is it there? What is it there? It's true what they say about not valuing what you have until you lose. I didn't value the peace we enjoyed in primary school when our mathematics teacher would go seven divided by three, and we would all scream,
He
"It
cannot
cannot go."
No.
Ignorance is bliss. Li- Life those days was so easy. Now we don't only deal with numbers until they die and melt into decimals. Even go further to marry numbers to letters.
Cripes.
Cripes. My mother had one day called me and made me sit on my father's special seat. It was only when she wanted to ask me for favors that ordinarily would draw an outright no
No.
from me that she would offer me the seat. This cheap blackmail worked on me 101% of the time. Mother recounted her struggles with mathematics and told me that the secret was for me to love both the subject and whoever the teacher handling it was. She also asked that I ensure to become friends with the best mathematics students in my class. It was easy to make Kwele Clifford my friend, and even though I'm a very honest person, I succeeded in convincing myself that I love mathematics. But when I couldn't bring myself to doing, what I couldn't bring myself to doing was to love Mr. Darwin,
Darwin.
Darwin, a mathematics teacher. Mr. Darwin had this huge belly that made it seem like an eating pot that had hugged his belly like a leech would do to the back of a healthy man. Students who lived close to his house said his love for Burukutu
Burukutu.
was like the love Christ has for the church.
What's Brokutu?
It's you know Burukutu? Locally,
You don't know Willow?
Bokomba.
No.
Mama Burukutu.
no, locally made wine.
Oh, is it in nuts?
It is not Abuja, Kaduna. Hello, Abuja and Kaduna. Right.
Okay. Where was I now? One of those days, Mr. Darwin had strolled into the class drunk with Burukutu. File out your notes. Let's solve some mathematics. Everyone in JSS2C shuffled the books in their bags in search of their mathematics notebooks. All of you know what
Papa Squaz.
Papa Squad is, right? He had quickly
Continue. So
he had quickly asked in his usual manner. We were accustomed to this kind of question that we hardly wait to even assimilate what he had asked before chorusing a
yes, sir. That's it. We just say not we say yes, sir.
no Papa Kwazi. We know that. I'm not changing. The noise from students shuffling their bags to get their mathematics notebooks drowned his voice, and I just simply blurted out a yes, sir. To my greatest shock, in a classroom that sits over 80 students, it was my voice that echoed a yes, sir. Mr. Dapian was livid with rage. So you mean to tell me that in this entire class, only one person knows what Papa Squad is? Like, guy, I don't know what it is. I followed the other disciples. No one uttered a word. I looked on with a finger raised to tell. I looked on with a finger raised to tell him that I really didn't know what the hell Perfect Squad was. Perfect Squad was, but he wasn't even seeing me. At this point, I wished I could time travel to when he did ask the question and when he had asked the question and just kept my big mouth shut. Mr. Darwin didn't allow God to answer my prayers. He refused to forgive my classmates and let his questions go. He unsheathed his three.
Forgive my classmates, not me.
Not serious. I don't know.
He unsheathed his pronged koboko, called me out, and asked me to stand aside. Then the hostility began. He sent 3 strokes each to the dancing buttocks of my classmate as I watched in utter bewilderment and discombobulation.
Yeah.
I watched as even the hardest of boys in my class who were accustomed to saying odeshi to any kind of punishment, writhed in pain. I couldn't understand how things could get this ugly in a nanosecond. In a few minutes, Mr. Darwin was in front of me, smelling of sweat, snuff, and bows. So now, take this chalk and show this Banza Mountain.
Mutani.
Butani, okay, it's an
Yeah,
answer
these
word.
stupid people.
Banza
Those are
Mutani.
Mutani.
What Papa Squaz is. I'm like, sir, no, I don't know what it is. I owe my survival to the fact that he was already tired from unleashing over 240 strokes on my classmate. My only worry was that students who had just shed tears laughed at me while I took my punishment with
Equanimity.
equanimity. You know how a punishment doesn't hurt much if you had expected worse, right? Did I add that Did I hide the fact that Mr. Darwin was close to see his wife flogging me? Why is he crying? Oh, beg.
I don't understand. Oh, what was that?
Does he know what Papa Squad is? After taking Burukutu. Maybe it was the drink. Maybe it was the fact that I had just stressed him for nothing. That's not normal. You are not tired.
Did he quit after that?
Government school, no.
Oh gosh.
Actually, some teachers don't show up in school.
No, it's normal thing.
They don't show up in school. He is serious with his class. But you, all of you will suffer.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to
Next week.
we would later get to know that Papa Squares is perfect squares, and indeed, like he claimed, he's taught us everything about Papa
Wait, I
Squares.
actually thought it was
Yes,
before.
now, but we don't know what it was now.
It was a code. He used a code language.
Why would you say Papa Squares?
Another comedy of mispronunciation happened with my agricultural science teacher. Father had asked me if we were taught anything in school. Yes, sir. We learn compost manure.
Compost manure.
I did blotted out. I had blotted out, grinning from ear to ear. What's manure? Father had asked, peering into my notebook, squint-eyed. Oh, manure is what you called manure. He had asked, half laughing at me. Yes, at me, because I hoped he wasn't laughing at my
Dear Mrs. Goodyear.
Mrs. Goodyear. Then I suspected it was her that he really laughed at. I felt the righteous anger welling up within me. I felt it as it wafted through my ventricles like a bow to the palate. That's really better than me. It sounded heretic for father to utter what a qualified teacher in my school had pronounced as manua. How dare he? Dad is manua. I managed to correct him with all the calmness I could muster. What started out as a harmless joke for my father became a serious argument that ended up having me punished. I did a ride a bike on the air for 1 hour. Okay, I get it now. I did a ride a bike on the air for 1 hour and picked pin for another 1 hour. Mrs. Godia admitted that she was wrong, but she only admitted
You
it.
go start that punishment for me.
Admitted, but she only the way most adults in Africa admit their wrongs always ends with a threat. What matters is for you to know how to spell it. Will any examiner ask you to pronounce it? Are your examinations not written? Please disappear from this office before I make you pick what cranes can't pick. I left our office very sullen and disappointed, but I didn't love her any less. I enjoyed her teaching so much that I looked forward to it every Tuesday and Friday. One of those days, she had taught us what a fallow land is. Leaving a land to fallow is to leave it to.
Oh, I'm such a good writer.
You are. Loud.
Did you see how I dragged it to?
What did you write?
I dragged it from mathematics to Greek, and now I'm talking about fallow.
Like now you're talking about the real thing that just supposed to be about.
Are you commending the reader or you're commending the writer?
You are recording.
Rest.
What you're asking for, they're giving you that you're
I
saying
just
the rest.
Leaving a land to fallow is to leave it unplowed or uncultivated for a long period of time in order to allow it to replenish lost nutrients. People who don't know what the owner of the land had planned would think he's not
Profit oriented.
see where the word was split. Profit oriented until the next harvest season, when the farmer chooses to continue cultivating the land. She said a lot, but these were the words that kept me all of those years of delays. Just like Prof. Isidore Diala
Is the
Isidore. Voilà. Isidore Diala mentioned in one of his poems in the Lushes of Ash.
Years of Ash.
Lords of
I
Ash.
love that
Lords of Ash. Thank you. Waiting is the color of ash.
Waiting.
I still don't get the word. Continue. My life seemed like the universe was playing a delay game with me. First, it was my speech. Next was my school, career, love life, and most ridiculous of them all,
Do you
yes.
even have love life too? I keep playing that one, but continue.
But none affected me the most as much as my schooling did. Staying 7 years outside school without hopes of graduating, always having my script missing, was something I couldn't come to terms with. While I waited for the big breaks, I kept my hands busy and I made sure I made sure that these businesses were related to what I was passionate about and to the big breaks that I was hoping for. If it wasn't if this isn't faith, I don't know what it is. Is it faith or faith?
Faith.
I thought it would have been like FAT.
No, faith. Like if it's not faith that I'm
And you know, to
professing.
push himself.
Okay. I volunteered to work at Knowledge Development Center in Port Harcourt. Went through Poise Graduate Finishing Academy, where we learned stuff about emotional, financial, and street intelligence. I also underwent leadership training at the Rest Place Academy's Leadership 1 and 2 bundles. Then, then the one thing that really transformed my performance skills was Ma'am's Donna's complete Ma'am's Donna's completing the mode masterclass, where I learned that poetry was three facets: the aesthetics, the technical, and emotional.
That was one missing.
Just like a land left to follow. Passerby, passerby, passerby,
People will pass us by.
passerby. What? You're supposed to pass us by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Passers-by who saw me in my fallow stage threw jibes at me when they saw pests, weeds, and other undesirable elements. But when the harvest came, it was an outrageous yield. It was difficult to explain to people that luck had nothing to do with my growth. I kept telling them that I had been on the ground for years, and they nodded. I didn't care to know whether they believed me or not. I went on to write the song "Land Left to Follow" and so many other songs that bore the etchings of my becoming. In all, I learned valuable lessons about how waiting is painful but profiting at the end. Why one waits, he or she should be busy because that's faith in action too. As an artist, one one ought to always enjoy the process because through and through is thorough and there is a difference between getting thick and swelling up. One is the evidence of good living, as we say, in Africa, whereas the other one is the evidence of food poisoning. Mhm. Finally, it is better to grow up than to jump up. That
Very.
line, that line is good.
It hits. It hits inside me.
That line
Home run.
should be left to follow.
Nice one.
Yeah, you're feeling yourself. Don't be-
Oh, now you want me to read
don't be-
my glory.
That's not a problem.
You know what? Read.
You don't even want to read.
My glory.
I feel so sorry for those people.
I was going.
For it's a date they came. Oh my god.
It's not our fault that they went out.
Eh,
They could not afford the food. They gave them money. They sent the money back. It's not our fault.
Okay, they're not waiting shop.
Ah, so fine, Sha. Anyway, why are we five? Who is the fifth person?
there are five.
You
God.
realize that the other person.
I don't want it. Okay, chapter 16. To toot one's horn is to break it
It's
tooth.
not balanced.
I'm the one bending actually, it's not the last one.
Are we doing the whole?
Yes, we're almost done. We are 16 already. Let's have about 8 chapters to go. 6 chapters to go.
Well, let's do 3 books.
Oh yeah. You should concentrate. My reading will not be.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Excuse me.
What chapter are you reading?
16.
Okay.
In the NYC camp in Nasarawa, it was not about the 7 graduate years the locusts had eaten. It was about where I was right. It was about where I was right then, the present, and not where I could have been. So when I was made to stand in line with my juniors, also for space and food and laundry with younger campers, get bamboozled by young paramilitary commanders, I had a lot to be angry at. But all of that negativity, like what besought the first runner-up of a competition who knew or wished it could have been him flaunting the gold medal, I pushed away and channeled my energy into being productive and happy. At the camp, because I got there late, it felt like everyone I had met there were my older colleagues. I found myself constantly asking questions: what to do, how and where to do them, too. Most of the people that I made inquiries from kept looking at me like I was a ghost. It is understandable. I didn't look like everyone else. Long hair, a locally made pendant to an African drum was absolutely strange. Besides, coming late to camp made me the odd one. So yes, it was understandable that they look at me like a ghost. After all, isn't the word late related to the dead? I was a member of the OBS, the press cadre of every NYSC orientation camp. While most core members were there for the interview to avoid the rigors of camp life, it was mostly to do the thing that I love that I applied to join the club. I remember all that happened during the interview. The chief editor of the editorial board, who's charged with the responsibility of interviewing and taking in new members of the Orientation Broadcast Service (OBS), asked me who I was and what specialty I was bringing to them that was not already on their list. My answer had been poetry, embellished with a smile. I recognized the air of superiority I heard in his voice. I knew his kind of people, the toxic know-it-alls who thought they were the all stuff of nature, and hence nothing else existed which satisfied recognition. I am a poet too, he sneered, and I'm better to tell you we have all the spices you seem to promise. Anyway, who are you and where have you featured? My name bore Gracious G. and Wareham on my application. That wouldn't ring a bell to anyone. I am the poet, I answered, wanting so badly to play in the humor game in Owerri, Port Harcourt, in fact, Nigeria. You, in Nigeria. His laughter was so ridiculous. Which big poet do you know? Do you know Bill Paul, Pontiff, or Graciano, who are all in Port Harcourt like you? As you, like you, as you claim.
You mentioned his name.
Like
I
literally.
mentioned all his friend. Oh, is the I won't call him friends.
Which friends? His belows.
You know, on ARB.
Yeah, I know. I know. Anyway, let's continue. He asked, and I could tell he felt very important to know such important personalities, whoever those were. I nodded. Yes, I've heard of them. He said, good. Now those are like now those are like the biggest poets in Port Harcourt, and you've only heard of them now. I grew up with Graciano, ate with him, and he's the kind of person I've rolled with as far as poetry is
My
concerned in
God.
this country. My dear. Hmm. I could not believe my ear. All the things he spewed.
Meanwhile, I snapped this part and sent to him. He don't laugh there.
All the tea spilled, bragging about what a big person he was too. How if I don't know him either, or Graciano of Port Harcourt, where I said I'm from, then I am not a poet. It beats me how people brag of relevance by association. Really beats me. How much I wanted to scream at him, kill his ego, bury his head in a puddle of his own shame, and say to his face, shut the F up, braggart. I am Graciano, and you don't know a fly's hindling about me. And nobody knows you. Oh, I would have loved if you had done that, honestly. But no problem. However, I realized that would only make me an even worse show off. So I swallowed the chill pill, smiled, and said, okay, maybe one day I'll get to meet Graciano and become a big press like the two of you. Are you taking me or not? Just as he was about to answer, someone walked into the room and exclaimed, Choi, Graciano. I was startled out of my seat. The pronounce the word, please.
Refulgent.
The refulgent young man had what apparently was an electrician's
Just
toolbox.
electricity, and that they took the lights.
Yeah, I could not register his face amongst anyone I knew in the near or distant past. He looked at the president and said excitedly, I know this guy. Graciano is his name. He's performed in my church in Port Harcourt. This guy is the badass of poetry. Chief Pete, nothing comes twice. Oh. Our dear Chief Pete sat morose, staring at me after the ensued drama. His other mouth was bubbled when he swallowed hard, obviously rattled. So you're Graciano. I played cool still, trying hard to hold my laugh in. That's the other G there. I pointed at my file. Are you taking me now? So you allowed me to move myself for 3 minutes interviewing my yoga. That's bad now. He was older and of course deserved the respect I accorded him still. But he had to tread the hard path of self-humiliation to learn to accord me mine. He offered me a position as the next president as recompense. I declined the crown. The first crown I wore was not one offered me through a panel of judges' validation or the recommendation of a fan base. No, there was never a crown. There was only an annunciation of self, a self proclamation of worth, value, and greatness. I would work only as a member of OBS. I can work as low of the lowliest, and yet my influence will be felt in the high places. It is this realization that brings the many crowns, which I wear not, were placed on the many heads of those who came to the royal transaction too. The gift of poetry to those who believe. Whenever you meet a great man, limit your talking to questions. Least you say less of what the great man have conceived in his mind about you. Questions only, because great men like to talk about their achievements. Listen more and talk less. How do you know that the person you met is great? Well, you don't have to know. A similar occurrence happened when Victor Adewale invited me to his Go Poetic event at the Obafemi Awolowo University at Ife. It was the maiden edition and it was going to be great, or so everyone thought. I mean, why wouldn't it be? He had invited all the poets that were close with in the poetry community at the time: Samurai, Chemistry, Adedayo Agarao,
Agarau.
Agarao, oh,
Agarau.
Agara, Adedayo Agara, James Conco, Vicadex, Osiben, and the
You see
Grace.
Vicadex?
Yeah, oh, the same Vicadex, yeah?
Yes.
That's nice.
Vicadex gave us how much?
100k.
100k.
So let me reposition. Let's continue. Uh-huh.
Oh, give him the shout out.
Oh, hi, Vicadex. Thank you so much for the 100k. We saw it and we really appreciate it. Thank
Vicadex, I just noticed that I even mentioned your name in the book. I didn't even remember that part. Thank you again for the 100k for the support
you. Thank you.
of
We
the
appreciate
event that we are still planning.
I'm so fine, Sha. Anyway, let's go on. Enough.
When you are doing your no now, so there.
I'm so fine, sir.
You are feeling your voice now. I also have nice voice.
Let her
Please leave me. Let me bask in the Europa.
And Grace,
Europa.
Grace, we just
Let's bask in the Europa.
The Europa League. Okay, let's continue. Okay, we're all on the bill. Friday night, 13th of March 2015, as was my custom was. In a bid to save money by not spending at all or spending less, I took a night bus to Osun State, Ile-Ife, and entered the city by 8 a.m. I decided to respect my old age and wait till about noontime before I gave my host a call to inform him that I had entered the city and was heading towards the school. Unfortunately, my Paco phone again. My Paco phone went off before I got to the school gate, so I couldn't call Victor. Did they take you to charge phone again?
No,
Okay.
just
one chat phone. I mean,
I beg
we go chat
you.
phone today.
Man, that line got me laughing. I almost did not remember writing that part.
um, okay. Unfortunately, my Paco phone went off before I got to the school gate, so I could not call Victor to pick me up. After standing at the gate for a while, I decided to find my host myself. So I set out on the quest without a phone or a sense of direction. But like they say, you can never get missing in the place with people. I started asking questions about the event and how I can find the organizers. I eventually saw a payphone and tried reaching out to my host. When he finally picked up the phone, he wasn't the one at the other end. Hello, please, can I speak with Victor? I said. I'm sorry, he's extremely busy now. It's urgent. I need to speak with him. Sir, you have to call back later. He went to pick up a very important guest. And beep, the line went dead. Luckily,
25 naira gone.
you used to invest naira to call somebody.
Yeah.
It's not even your
1
girlfriend.
minute to 25 naira then.
Oh, that was back then. And I used to pay.
But it's not his
They pay phone
girlfriend.
now.
Okay.
It's not even your girlfriend. 25 minutes. 25
That
naira.
time they will even announce it. You will see on their
Board.
board. They will write 1 minute plus 1 second equal to 2 minutes, 15 naira.
That's how I started making.
Quite heartless. Ordinary 1 minute.
There was a time. No, there was a
No,
time.
I was.
There was a
I
time
knew
1
when
minute
there
was
was
75
payphone.
naira.
I knew when there was payphone for 25 naira.
There was a time when 1 minute was 75.
God forbid.
Did you use coins?
No, I bet now. No old rich like that. What is it?
I use coins now.
I met coins, but I did not. I did
know
not
you are meant
transact.
to.
I did not transact with coins.
I know you are meant.
That's why you can never coin anybody.
Please,
Give me
off that
some.
laptop, Off that laptop.
Off it. We have closed.
When they say
Everybody should go home.
When they say you're front, I want to find
Please.
someone.
Yeah, who get?
I'm a working girl. Anyway, let's go on, please. Where did I even stop, sir?
So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Beep, the line went dead. Luckily, Victor in our earlier conversation had mentioned that I would be staying in the best hostel in the school. After lots of questioning and I'm going that way, I'll show you the place, and realizing that there are many people bearing Victor and Samuel in that school
More.
than there are classrooms with seats, I finally found the hostel. Glory to God. I walked in and asked for Victor, and the guys sitting there chorused the same answer. The lady who had answered the phone said he has gone to bring in a very important guest. I chuckled inwardly at their excitement for the arrival of Gracia, but I needed to be entertained with the anonymity disguised game. I pretended I was Victor Adewale's Hmm? I pretended I was
It
Victor.
was. That's a yeah.
Oh, thank you. It, I pretended it was Victor Adewale who had traveled from Lagos to watch his performance live. Oh, you were like his fan, yeah? Oh, the way I said the live, widening my eyes, cracked them up. The laughter was more infectious than COVID-19, and I was tempted to laugh with them. I actually did. The young men cleared the space on the bed closest to the door for me to sit, while they chatted on excitedly, overtly so.
Man, please sit.
One
Dead
of
on the
them
ground.
One of them committed a grammatical blunder. The hostel erupted. At first, I thought they were running towards me, but no, it was the wall just behind me. They ran to amidst jeers and screams of "Write it on." One of them wrote the grammatical blunder on the wall with a permanent marker. I stood to read this board. It looks like a list of all grammar blunders in the academic year. It was titled Bagun
Bagan.
Bagan with serial numbers and names by the left and the grammatical blunders by the right.
Mm.
The most exciting of them, Ayomide
I have been
Festus, who ran about in his shorts, jumping in people's faces, repeating my name like it was a mantra. Or more, Graciano is coming. He even advised one of them to drink Gary fast before Graciano would think it's only Gary we drink in this hostel. That's nice. I used the neatest pillow I could find on the small spring bed to cover my face while I laughed until both my cheeks and belly ached.
Hey, I think
Even
grammar errors. What kind
like
of this?
literally, I thought we edited this book like how many
Ah,
times. Eventually, Victor came in looking dejected and frustrated. Guy, what's happened now? Where the Graciano decreasing? Oh man, I don't know. He's inside the school, but I can't find him. I'm tired, honestly. I slowly sat up and called out to him, Victor. He stared at me transfixed for a few seconds. When he eventually got off his screen, Sir Graciano, you nearly killed me, oh, and gave me a big hug. The other guys there were in shock as they realized they've been with the great Graciano that they've been waiting for. They all quietly went about putting themselves in order. To them, they done forehand. They replayed all they had done in my presence to Victor Adewale as he watched with his jaws dropping every minute with mild screams of ah. We all laughed at this unplanned comic event. Victor finally updated me on the change of accommodation plan. Initially, due to limited funds, I was to stay in his hostel, the same one with the
background
background
board.
board.
Just
But
Maya.
but they had found a better place. I was taken to the house where I was refreshing up before the performances commenced and returned to lay my head after the event. The first happened, but lay my head, I never did that because throughout that night, Victor and I ended up in Studio 8, the most popular studio in Ilife, where we recorded what Nigerians want. Victor had warned me that although the hostel had great producers, that there are some things they do there that I wouldn't like. I brushed it off as normal things everyone who visits studios would see. I was wrong. One of the producers, the best hand there, who had left school in Ghana and came to hide in Relief, was a chain smoker. In less than 2 hours, I watched him light and burn down each wraps of fat weed at Wahala. Later on, when I was done recording, Victor had gone out to get us fries before all the food vendors go home. This producer guy insisted that I tell him which brand I smoked. If it's weed, I should tell him how many wraps I did. Baba, your line is too tight, I beg. Now only me and you dey here. Tell me the truth. Wetin you dey buff? Show us will. Every day, me like this, they down 11 wraps of sesame. Make I upgrade. Haba. After taking 11, you want to upgrade? Heaven is calling your name. Even when Victor Adewale returned to confirm that I don't smoke, drink alcohol, or womanize, Jude insisted that I had only been too careful not to have been seen smoking. Guy, waiting you they try tell me. As I just see you, I just know say you be exhaust. I'm sorry. You be exhaust pipe. That's sad. Um, he said, looking at my long brown unkempt hair. He went on to recount his first experience as a weed smoker, how his friends had given him the tale of the leaked wrap, and he had woken up under the shower in the bathroom. The second day had him thinking children were controlling toy cars around him and stopping him from crossing a track road. Hey, weed is bad. Stay away. When he summed up the courage to kick one of the toy cars, he realized that what he thought were toy cars were luxury buses, lorries, and actual cars. And what he thought was a track was about the next expressway, Jesus. I don't know person for take time. That's what he had entered the road thinking that it was toy car.
He said it was like highest. The children's parents will be angry. You will kick this thing.
Ah!
One guy at when I was in Atoka Street where they said he just finished smoking, so he came out. The gutter was there. He bent to look at the gutter, the wood there. I look at when Just so it doesn't fall inside.
Yeah.
You look at I look at the nine stand.
You didn't see fall inside.
Like why?
After you finish avoiding it your whole life. Oh Jesus, that's so sad. Stay away from drugs, people. Anyway, let's go on. Go Poetic event happened and it was amazing. Victor Adewale would later go on to start taking photos with phones that looks like photos taken by professional cameras. Got the recognition by the phone brand, got a professional camera, became the personal photographer to Brimo, one of Nigeria's biggest musicians. He's still currently the. Oh, that's nice.
Just take his name, Victor Adewale. This boy now.
The Go
You showed
Poetic
it to me now.
Okay, I did that.
and got nominated as one of Nigeria's most influential crossover poets, a prize awarded to any poet who does other arts aside poetry. Victor was a poet, musician, and now a photographer. He did all three with panache and great personality. Later, I worked in the Nasarawa Broadcasting Service (NBS), where we used as a rendezvous for our community development service, organized mini mentorship programs for secondary school students, and then came the lecturing job at the Nasarawa State Polytechnic. It would be dishonest of me not to mention, however, that although I carry the seeds of poetry and creative art with me, the northern soil where I served was not as fertile as the southern counterparts. Literary appreciation here was crushed by the heat of nonchalance, laxity, illiteracy, and insecurity. It wouldn't be long before I packed up my tent and set a compass. Destination home. Why didn't you read some? I'm reading one.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just asking. It's not like
No, go ahead. I forgot actually. I wanted to read 2.
You want to?
Then she will read 3.
why is she reading 3?
She read 1 only before.
I'm just gonna read 1 extra. You want to read 2?
Okay. She will read 1 extra.
What is-
What's
No,
going
no,
on?
she
now?
will read 2.
Are you
Then
guys
you-
realize I'm recording something?
Why do I feel like she's attacking me?
No, she will read 2. When I'm done reading my final one, she will read 2. Then you will read 2. Then he will read 2.
How many is many?
I'm about to read. I'm about to read. And my love, help me switch on that
Okay.
stuff there. Thank you. I'm about to read 17. So we have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We have 5 more. If she reads 2, it will be remaining 3. Okay, so we'll go. In fact, you're not reading again.
No problem.
If she reads 2, we'll go back 1, 1, 1 to be finished. Then
Yeah.
you can now read maybe the
Are you
ending
happy
part.
now?
I'm going to read the last chapter. That's my
Great.
favorite
Are
chapter.
you happy?
Okay.
you're happy.
Chapter 17. I know you can enjoy my voice. I'm such a good reader. Such a fine girl. Chapter Chapter
Because of you, like, those people
17.
Yes, I don't know they can see from here.
I could hear the insult I'm receiving. I was
And
so
you
stuck.
kept your you see where you are, you now left your small bag there.
I don't know if it's inside.
Your 4,000 naira.
There's 200 naira inside that bag. If I find it, this place will shut down. I will kill somebody.